If you've ever filled up your own diesel truck, you are one distracted moment away from a $20,000 repair bill. Not from a blown engine, not from a bad transmission, from a fluid mix-up that takes about 4 seconds to make. Here's why. Ford and Ram both put the DEF filler cap inside the exact same door as your diesel filler cap. Same door. 2 openings, inches apart. One of them is diesel fuel. The other is DEF diesel exhaust fluid, the urea solution that keeps your emission system legal. And nothing on that door stops you from grabbing the wrong jug. It's called DEF contamination, and it has already cost real truck owners $12,000 to $20,000 to fix. Not the DEF system alone, the whole fuel system, torn out and replaced. And the worst part? Your truck will not warn you before it happens. It only starts warning you after the damage is already running through the lines. So right now, before you watch another second of this, if you let anyone else fuel this truck, start checking which cap they're opening. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which mistake to never make, and the one $5 check that prevents the entire disaster. There are 2 ways this trap catches people, and they go in opposite directions. The first, DEF gets poured into the diesel fuel tank. On a Ford Powerstroke forum, one owner admitted he'd poured about a gallon of DEF into his fuel tank before he even noticed something was wrong. Another owner on a separate Ford forum did almost the same thing on a 2015 F-250 about half a gallon in, caught it fast, called a tow truck before he turned the key again. That single decision not restarting the engine probably saved him from the worst-case bill. Here's what happens if you don't catch it. DEF reacting with your fuel system corrodes the inside of your fuel lines, causes injectors to stick open and fail, and takes out your high-pressure pump. Symptoms show up fast, hard starting, a rough idle, exhaust smoke that shouldn't be there. In the worst cases, the truck simply won't start again. That means a $5 jug of the wrong fluid can turn into a fuel system that has to be replaced from the tank to the injectors. Dealers have quoted owners $12,000 to $20,000 for that job. One owner said just cycling the key once after contamination got him quoted $10,000 before the shop had even finished inspecting the rest of the system. The second direction is the one nobody talks about, contamination going into the DEF tank instead. Diesel, coolant, water, or cheap off-brand DEF getting into that tank during a refill. This is actually the more common failure, and it destroys something different, your SCAR catalyst, the part of your emission system that turns exhaust gas clean. If this is the first time you're hearing your truck has 2 separate failure points hiding in the same fuel door, hit subscribe, because the rest of this list only gets worse from here. So why would any manufacturer design a truck this way? Because the EPA mandates a separate DEF tank and injection system on every diesel truck built since 2010, and the easiest place to package it was right next to the existing fuel filler. Nobody engineered it to be foolproof. They engineered it to meet emissions law. Here's the chemistry that makes it expensive. Your SCAR catalyst, selective catalytic reduction, relies on clean, API-certified DEF to convert exhaust into water vapor and nitrogen. Contaminate that DEF with diesel, coolant, or bad fluid, and you degrade the catalyst itself. Replacing the SCAR catalyst alone runs $2,000 to $8,000 depending on your engine family. That's before you add a DEF pump replacement at $800 to $2,000, or a full tank replacement at $500 to $1,500. That means a contaminated tank doesn't cost you 1 repair. It stacks 3 repairs on top of each other: catalyst, pump, and tank, and none of them are optional once the contamination is confirmed. Here's the proof. This isn't rare. Ram had to issue something called the XQ1 warranty extension, a real filing on record with NHTSA, bulletin number MC11001125000001. It extends coverage on the DEF and emission system to 10 years, or 120,000 miles, for 2013 to 2019 Ram 2500 and 3500 trucks with a 6.7-liter Cummins, provided they completed an emissions recall. Manufacturers do not extend a warranty to 10 years, because a problem is occasional. GM has its own paper trail 2 TSB 22 NA 150 and a follow-up, Bulletin 24 NA 196, both specifically rewriting how the DEF control module reads the tank on 3.0 and 6.6-liter Duramax trucks. That's not a goodwill gesture. That's damage control on a problem the manufacturers already knew was widespread. This is where it stops being a hypothetical and starts being your truck. Here are 3 real numbers from real Ram 3500 owners. A dealer quote of $2,900 for a DEF pump and control module. A second owner's bill of $1,797,480 in parts. $1,317 in labor. And an aggregate average repair cost of $2,140, hitting a 2015 Ram 3500 at just 46,550 miles. 46,000 miles. This is not a 200,000-mile worn-out truck problem. One 2021 Ram 2500 Cummins owner got the service DEF system warning on the highway at 11,000 miles with 130 miles left before the truck automatically dropped itself to 5 miles an hour. That's the part every diesel truck shares across every brand. Ignore the warning, and the dash counts down to a 5-mile-an-hour limp mode, and eventually a no-start condition on your next key cycle. It's not a bug. It's built into the emissions software on purpose, so you can't just keep driving on a bad system. Who actually gets hit by this? New owners who don't know the layout yet. Anyone who lets someone else fuel the truck, a spouse, a gas station attendant, a mechanic in a hurry. And cold climate owners specifically, because incomplete winter thaw can leave ice or slush sitting in the DEF tank, and DEF crystallization on the level sensor throws false readings that look identical to real contamination. That means a dealer sometimes can't even tell you which direction the damage went, fuel into DEF or DEF into fuel, until they're already mid-teardown on your truck. Here's the one check that stops all of this before it starts. Ford dealers use Rotunda DEF test strips part numbers 328-00012 or 328-44-863 to check for petroleum in a DEF tank in about 30 seconds. If the strip shows petroleum present, the entire DEF system gets replaced, not topped off. That strip costs a few dollars. The repair it prevents costs thousands. Second check, only ever use API certified DEF. Look for the API Diamond certification mark on the jug before you buy it. Off-brand, uncertified DEF is a documented contamination risk on its own, with no fuel mix-up required. And the simplest rule of all, never assume a filler door only has one hole in it. If someone else is fueling your truck, glance at which cap they're opening. That one habit is the entire prevention plan for the $12,000 to $20,000 version of this mistake. If your dash throws any kind of DEF quality alert, do not keep driving to try to burn it off. Every extra mile you drive is another fuel cycle pushing contaminated fluid through parts that are expensive to replace. Now, if you're already in it, if you're a 2013 to 2019 Ram 2500 or 3500 owner with the 6.7-liter Cummins, and you've completed emissions recall VB6 or 67A, check whether your truck qualifies for that XQ1 warranty extension before you pay a dealer a dime out of pocket. 10 years or 120,000 miles of coverage on exactly this system. Every other diesel owner, if you suspect contamination in either direction, get it tested before you run another tank through the system. A 30-second test strip now is the difference between a fluid flush and a full system teardown. 2 directions, 1 door. DEF into your fuel tank can mean a $12,000 to $20,000 fuel system rebuild. Contamination into your DEF tank can mean a stacked bill on your scrar catalyst, pump, and tank. Both start the exact same way, someone grabbing the wrong cap without checking. 1 test strip. 1 glance at which door you're opening. That's genuinely the whole prevention plan. Sound off in the comments, has this happened to you or someone you know, and which direction did it go? Hit subscribe. This is Truck Truth Q. We've got 11 more hidden traps dealers don't put in the owner's manual. Next one's coming soon.